It's your girl, Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention herself. To all my helper bees out there, you know who you are. Those that are always helping everyone else and neglecting yourself. Yes, boo, look in the mirror. I'm talking to you. Here to let you know God has not forgotten about you. I've been sent on divine assignment. It's time for reflections, choosing me guilt free. That means 30 minutes for your mind, your body, spirit, and emotions. And don't act like you don't have time. You have time for everyone and everything else. Sit back and relax because if you're here, that means this show is for you or it's for someone you know. But most likely, it's for both of y'all. Deep breaths, love. Let's go. It's your girl, Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention herself. To all my helper bees out there, you know who you are. Those that are always helping everyone else and neglecting yourself. Yes, boo, look in the mirror. I'm talking to you. Here to let you know God has not forgotten about you. I've been sent on divine assignment. It's time for reflections, choosing me guilt free. That means 30 minutes for your mind, your body, spirit, and emotions. And don't act like you don't have time. You have time for everyone and everything else. Sit back and relax because if you're here, that means this show is for you or it's for someone you know. But most likely, it's for both of y'all. Deep breaths, love. Let's go. Hey, family. Hey, family. Hey, family. It is your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? You know, boo, for divine intervention, because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? You know your girl's going to give you the good information, boo. The things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. And family, you know if you hear my voice. What that mean? It's Monday. Yes, boo. It is Monday, February the 23rd, and we are live in the studio, KGLD 104.9 FM and 1330 AM. Honey, we are live in the studio. How y'all doing? Yes. How are y'all doing on this last Monday of Black History Month? You doing okay? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Did y'all have all your Black History programs yesterday? Mm-hmm. Y'all did your Black History speeches? Was the babies nice? Yeah. Yeah. We had one. We had one at the Church of the Living God. Oh, we call it the Palace. You know, over there on Palace. On the Palace on Palace Avenue, 1326 Palace Street. We had our Church of the Living God PGT. Our pastors, Dr. Deborah Hopes is my pastor. We had a beautiful program yesterday. We recognized Sister Pamela Irwin, and it's been over 25 years since she had her infamous Dance Factory studio open, and she shared her journey. It was called My Story. Uh-huh. Sister Pamela Irwin, beautiful spirit, beautiful spirit. I'm so grateful to have the honor and privilege of knowing her and have known her since I was younger, and just being in the presence of greatness. Yes, makes you just excellence. Makes you want to be excellent yourself, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Yes, but she shared her story yesterday and showed some videos from the one of her the 20-year anniversary of the Dance Factory. Beautiful, uh, beautiful, um, just tribute, and then the youth department and some of our members of the church had some speeches, and it was just nice. It was just nice. It was called the Torchbearers and paid homage to those who have, of course, gone before us. And, the message of the day was the torch is being passed. Each year we started out with Harriet Tubman, and the torch was passed on, and it came on through, and we ended with Vice President Kamala Harris. But it was stand up, right? She the whole thing with Harriet Tubman, we got that, from the Harriet Tubman soundtrack, Stand Up, Cynthia Erivo. Maybe I'm saying her wrong, but y'all know who I'm talking about, Cynthia Erivo. I think that's how you say it. But she sung so beautifully, Stand Up, Take My People With Me. Together, we are going to a brand new home, because we don't have to stay stuck, right? We don't have to stay in this place. And I feel chills right now because it is election week, right? It is this time of the year, and this time where your voice can be heard. We can make a change. We can make a difference, right, in our local communities. And feeling such overwhelmed with all the crazy that is going on, but understanding that God is still in charge. God is still on the throne, and He is, and just being grateful that He has given us the opportunity and the responsibility, right, to go out and vote, to have our voices heard for those people that have paved the way for us to even have the right, and that right that some people are trying to take away from us. I feel like we've taken it for granted. So that maybe we need that awakening that somebody is trying to snatch it from us. We don't want to go back 40, 50 years to, when the right wasn't given to us. So again, just exercise your right to vote. It is early voting, if you did not know. Um, the Heritage Building, and you can go to 411.org, www.411.org, for any of your local, places to vote, to look at the ballot. I'm encouraging people to look at the sample ballot before you go. There is a lot on the ballot this year. I don't know if you've seen it already. You can also go downtown to 201 West Ferguson and get a sample ballot. If you're like me and you just need like a physical copy, you can go down there and get the physical copy of a ballot, and so that you can look people up, because it is a lot of people on the list. And one video that I saw this week, just really quickly, a video that I saw this week was saying, when you vote, you want to look at the people that are going against the Republican Party, or going against the party that you want to vote for, because there's a lot of people. You remember when Barack Obama, the very first year that he, was on the ballot, there were so many Democratic people, and then there were others that it was 8, 9 people on the list, right? And so you want to make sure that you're casting your ballot and your vote is going towards whoever is going to be running against your opposing team, because that makes it even stronger as to who you want, or who has the chances to beat, that person to win when it comes down to the November elections. And then there's just a lot of things on the ballot this year, as far as where do you want money spent, what your ideas are about different things. And so please, 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 make sure that you look at the ballot. We are Then let me just say this really quickly, because yesterday there was a tribute given to there was a tribute given yesterday. I wish I had the information in front of me, but my good friend, DJ Juice, was honored at yesterday at man, I don't have any of the information in front of me, but let me just say he was honored yesterday. And I'm bringing light to this because this is a young man doing positive things. We met about 2 years ago. He is a beautiful spirit. I interviewed him on the podcast. The interview is under the men's edition, to think about all of the things that he has done in the community just by himself, just being inspired from him moving from having a military background with his father and him moving here with his mom and coming here and just seeing some things that he used to have as a youth that are not here in Tyler. And instead of him complaining about it, he just started his own organization and started going out and doing little things. Works with the radio station, one of the FM stations, but nevertheless, I love supporting young people doing positive things. We just need so much more of that. So I just want to give a shout out to him. His name is DJ Juice, but his name is Jeremy Jones. And just want to say congratulations to him and all of the radio personalities that were recognized yesterday. And so I just wanted to do that. Now, family, we are in February, which is Cardiovascular Awareness Month as well. Now, y'all know y'all been following your girl and y'all been listening, and I thank you for listening. Y'all know that I started in August on this self love journey. And I talk about this just self love, and everything that I'm about is self awareness, right? Um, Loving on yourself, making sure, because it's so easy to point the fingers and blame other people for what's happening in your life. But at some point in time, you're going to have to take a look in the mirror, right? And take accountability for your actions, for the things. It was so nice, right? It felt so good to blame my ex-husband for all the things, all the choices that I made after the divorce. I would always say, if it had something to do with my finances, well, I wouldn't even be in this situation if we were together. If it was right, relationships that didn't work out, I wouldn't even be in a situation because I'm not even supposed to be with this man. I'm supposed to be with my husband. Right? I was blaming him for everything. And that is normal because it is a part of grief. And a stage in grief is anger. And it was a subconscious anger that I was blaming him for everything instead of taking responsibility for accountability for the actions that I made after the divorce. He didn't have anything to do with it. He wasn't around, right? I always say I'm grateful that he came home and said he didn't want to be married anymore. I would rather you set me free than to hold me hostage, because that is one of my fears, is being in a relationship where someone is just holding you hostage, using and abusing you, cheating on you and doing all the things. And so, baby, hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. I'm grateful. So nevertheless, we're talking about matters of the heart, little things that affect you. So things like that, grief, right? The mind, the body, the spirit, the emotions. This week, I want to focus a little bit on the body. With our time that we have left, I went to the doctor because on this self love journey, I went to the doctor. I've been going, getting tested. I had my liver tested. I talk about being obese. I've been back and forth struggling with my weight, right? Um, well, I came back. The ultrasound said I had fatty liver. And I'm going, Lord have mercy. This is a hot mess. Not only did I have fatty liver, but I was diagnosed with diabetes. My A1C was up. And so that is because I have yo-yoed, right? I talk about this all the time. I have yo-yoed back and forth. Each time that I've gone up in all the previously years, I've always been pre-diabetic. And I can be small for 2 or 3 years and I'll gain some weight and be big for a year and a half or so. Then I'll go back being small and then I'll gain, it's yo-yoing, right? And so in this last yo-yo, and that is from allowing people to, because I'm an emotional eater, right? So allowing outside circumstances to affect me. Now I have this fatty liver. Now I've been diagnosed with A1C. Your A1C level, which is a 3-month testing of your blood sugars, just a 3-month average, was 7.4. Not terrible, but high enough for the diagnosis. And so I wanted to talk today about, because I know I'm not the only person in this situation, I wanted to talk today about how your heart is affected by the fatty liver and the diabetes, And I had my doctor's appointment Thursday. So I'm very transparent. Want to share this because I don't feel like I'm going through this. I don't feel like God is a just because God, and so I'm not embarrassed about it. But I know that I need to do something about it. I need to be consistent. And again, that's why the word of the year this year is discipline. And so your girl is down 6 pounds, but nevertheless, too early to cheer because it's still fat on the liver, right? So let's break it down a little bit. So the heart, fatty liver, diabetes, they're all connected, and it's all a part. This is all like a metabolic imbalance that's happening inside the body. So metabolic, you can't see it, right? You can't see it while you're drinking and eating all the good stuff, all the great Sunday dinners, all the greasy and fatty foods. You can't see it, but it's happening. So what I have, there's two types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes people are born with. That just means their body is not producing, for whatever physical reason, not producing enough insulin. Type 2 diabetes is the body becomes resistant to the insulin. So the insulin is there, but really I'm putting too much sugar, putting too much, right, carbs and things in my body. And carbs are my favorite. French fries, we talk about it, mashed potatoes, those are my favorite things. Those are my kind of comfort foods. So that means that the sugar is staying in the bloodstream. I taught about this before, how the insulin is like the parents, and then the sugar is like all these kids in a basement party all crowded up, and the insulin comes in and breaks up. Hey, come on, let's go, get to where you're going, the party's over, move it around, go on where you're going up to the brain, go back to bed, go to the liver, go, right, it sends things where it needs to be. And that means also that the pancreas, which secretes the insulin, is working overtime, right? It's just overtime. Have you been somebody that's worked overtime at any job? What happens when you're working all the time? So much sugar, so much sugar, so much sugar in the blood. You like, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. That's what the pancreas is doing. Your blood vessels become damaged over time. And so this is from your blood sugar being chronically high. And so it creates inflammation. Y'all heard me talk about I suffer from inflammation in my feet, inflammation, and then it damages your arteries. And so then the fatty liver comes in. So we always think of fatty liver when you think of alcoholics. So if you're drinking or a liver damage, you think of alcoholics, right? And so, of course, if you're drinking and doing this, that's double trouble. But if you're not drinking, I'm not a drinker, but damaging my liver from the foods. And so non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is what it's called. And it happens when there's an excess fat buildup in the liver. And so again, it's from insulin resistance, it's from high blood sugar, it's from excess carbohydrates and obesity or visceral fats. Now, for me, I was kind of confused because I feel like I have really pretty much did a nice little diet change and was doing veggies and everything. But what happens again is your A1C goes off for your last 3 months. So if you're doing very well, as I have done in the past, and most people are that does this yo-yo diet, and you're doing very well in the past, and then you allow someone, something, whoever, for whatever reason, for it to come in and throw you off of your program, off of what God has you doing, right? And that emotional response, whatever that is, relates to food, it gets you here, right? And so here we are. So insulin resistance causes the liver to store fat. And so the fatty liver makes insulin resistance worse. And it just becomes this kind of vicious cycle. And then it progresses and turns into inflammation. That turns into scarring. And then sometimes that can eventually lead to cirrhosis of the liver, which is just the further end of liver damage. You don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. That's why I'm talking to you about it. I love to be a living example. I want you to take some self inventory today. I don't believe in coincidences. And so if you're here listening to this, and please understand, this is talking about obesity and visceral fat, but at the same time, it does not have to do with your weight all the time. And so you don't have to necessarily be physically obese. You could be emotionally obese. Okay, we talk about that as well. So, but the heart is the number one cause of death. We talk about this. The heart is the number one cause of death, cardiovascular disease across the board. All the cancers, all the diseases together do not match up to heart disease. So, we really want to pay attention. Heart disease is the number one cause of death in people with diabetes. Let me say that again for the people in the back. I said heart disease is it's the number one cause of death regardless. Catch that. But if you have diabetes, it's the number one cause of death in people with diabetes. What that mean? You have type 2, know that you can. It is reversible. So the connection is the high blood sugar damages your arteries. Your arteries are what your heart is pumping, using to pump all of your blood to your major vessels and organs, right? Insulin resistance increases your triglycerides. Triglycerides is just a fancy word for fat. So it increases the fat. Then the fatty liver raises the bad cholesterol. The bad cholesterol, when you're looking on your test results, is the LDL. I've talked about this and broke this down really good last year. So go back last year and look for one of the episodes under the radio. We on the radio, and it might have been the Matters of the Heart series I did last year. This time, maybe been last February, or maybe somewhere after that. But nevertheless, break that down really nicely. But the bad cholesterol is the LDL. I call them the losers. That's how you LDL are the losers. The loser, that's the bad ones. The chronic inflammation stiffens the blood vessels. So what does that mean? Your blood vessels are supposed to be nice and soft and flexible, right? To expand and come back in, expand and come back in. But what happens is we're making them stiff, and they're hard. And then it's harder for the blood to flow and to fluctuate because we're junking it up with the triglycerides, with the oil, with the fat, right? With all of the things. So that leads to high blood pressure, leads to plaque buildup, which in turn leads to the heart attack, which in turn leads to the stroke. And that's your number one, how it's the number one cause of death, right? So when someone has diabetes, fatty liver, high blood pressure, of course, I said their risk dramatically increases. So what are we doing about it? The excess sugar is the liver is converting it to fat. The fat builds into the liver. The high sugar, inflammation, artery damage. All of this is heart disease. So in the Black community, we all know somebody with type 2 diabetes. We all know someone with high blood pressure. We all know somebody, right? We all know somebody with high blood pressure with these things. And so, but does that mean that you have to stay there? It doesn't mean that you have to live there. I'm just here today to shed light, to give you some inspiration, to give you some motivation, to give you a message, right? And if it's not for you, like I said in the beginning, if it's not for you, maybe it's for somebody else. And it's definitely for me, right? It's definitely for me. We talk about how chronic stress, uh, of course, your desserts that you choose, just your diet choices, just being in cortisol overload, which is that chronic stress levels, all of that makes a tremendous difference. And so the idea is my doctor specifically said to me, because I am very sedentary at home. I work from home. I'm at the computer. I'm sitting at a desk for over 8 hours, when I'm at work. And so I have to start moving more. I move a little bit. And it all is kind of overlapping because of the inflammation in my feet and my ankles. I haven't been able to dance and move like I normally would, but I'm going to have to figure it out. I want you to figure it out, right? Come up with a plan. Losing just 5 to 10% can reverse fatty liver, improve insulin sensitivity, and walking 30 minutes a day improves your glucose and your triglyceride levels. Just 30 minutes a day. So this is something my doctor said to me. She said, I have to lift weights because I'm too sedentary. And even when I move, it helps a little bit, but it's not helping enough. And so I want you to consider that if you have fatty liver disease, and you can tell if you have it if your belly is sticking out. If your belly is sticking out, you probably want to you probably want to get a check. The first step would be to get your blood levels checked. When I got my blood work, my liver enzymes were up. And so that's how she knew to go ahead and do a liver ultrasound. And I asked her to do a liver ultrasound actually because I wanted to know. And it came back. So if your liver enzymes are up, I don't want you to run from your labs. I don't even want you to be afraid of this, but I do want you to understand that as long as you're on this side of heaven, you have a choice and you have, time, right? Because I don't believe that we were put here to suffer. The way that my ankles are hurting, the inflammation that has imploded in my body, it's all connected to the liver and what's happening with this obesity. So I know that I have to get a hold of it again. And if, in the words of Ty Tribbett, if he did it before, he could do it again. If you did it before, you can do it again. If I did it before, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again because I don't want you suffering, right? I just feel like God did not put us here to suffer, and so that is just one of my big pet peeves. I want to take a minute before we leave. I always forget to talk about this. I told y'all at the beginning of the year we were doing Stuck, Jenny Allen Stuck, Bible study for women, kind of a women's group. I'm sorry, men, I have something else for you guys later. But right now, focus on the women. We are meeting. We had our first meeting 2 weeks ago, and at 6 o'clock. And I want to invite you if you are feeling like you are stuck. Like for me, the very first time that I did this Stuck conference was back in 2016 or so. And it had to do with my weight, right? It was one of the things that I was stuck in at that period of time. And I was 274 pounds. And you hear me talk about this often. I didn't know or have the understanding that my weight was related to sexual assault. My weight is related to a sexual assault. That's one of the reasons why it's really hard for me to really get a hold of this. I have lost 45 pounds since I've been here in this last 10 years. I've been, great, lost 45 pounds. But then something happens emotionally. And of course, I allow this weight to come back. But for me, my goal is, and I'm telling you this because I want you to hold me accountable to it, that I got to get down under 200 pounds. The 180 is where I need to be. So I want you to make a decision of where do you want to be? Because again, we're not meant here to suffer, family. And I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free with your girl, Miss Michelle D.I. Every week, we will have the uncomfortable but necessary conversations as it relates to your mind, your body, your spirit, and emotions. You suffered long enough. It's time to break free. So join me every Monday at 1 p.m. right here on KGLD Radio, where you can fill your spirit with gospel all day long. See you next week.